Alright. Good evening. See if I can remember how to stream. It's been a little while. Today, I wanted to start playing around with autopilots. Namely, autopilots in airplanes that don't have autopilots, like the Icon A5. Easily my favorite airplanes in the game. One of them in many ways. And it's just, there's no autopilot at all in it. So I said, you know, I'm going to start writing an autopilot for these other airplanes. And I did. I started actually writing one. And let's see if I can get it to switch over and see my entire screen. iPad, nope. No. Let me switch switch to studio mode. See if I can get it to there's display capture. And show transition, swipe. Swipe. So if I do that, whoop, whoop. That'll do. Hey, White Moon, how's it going? Today we're kind of programming a bit, so I might have some code up on screen. I might not show the code to do it, because I might wait to release this later until after a one specific air race that I might want to do well on. So let's see. If I change scene source, if I go to Game and Blender, and we call this one cap screen. That's a little better. Always turn on the iPad as well. So I think what we're going to do... Come on. Switch NVI, start broadcast. It's going well, just had a part-time job this week. Yeah, nice. Temporary job, which should be next week or two. Oh, that's cool, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking around for stuff to do as well. There we go. Now we've got an iPad there too. Sweet. Cool. So let's switch back to the game. You know, I kind of want these in a different order. Where's my chatting inset? Ah, there it is. I see what I was doing there. Okay, I just need to swap some of these things around. Cool. Alright, so screen goes on there. Let's go game capture. Just gonna move these around. This makes a little more sense in my mind. Screen cap should always be on the top. Cool. Very nice. Alright. Back to it. So I'm going to start off here from the Kenora Seaplane base, and then we're going to head off to Thunder Bay. It's a few-hour flight. And if we go set as... Oh my god, set as arrival, please. 2 hours, 44 minutes in this airplane. But that's a terrible flight to be doing all by hand, especially when you're just using an Xbox controller. So let's get flying. Let's see if we can make this thing fly by itself. So I have been playing around a bunch with the Autopilot already. And the Autopilot works quite well on the Pastajet, but I need to tune it for all the airplanes. It's got flight sim. Ooh, nice. And I managed to buy the Xbox controller twice out of the tutorial. Without the tutorial. Nice. I'm assuming you mean fly the 320 there. Ooh. That screen's a bit new. Oh, they've updated this. That's cool. Do I have my water rudder down? I don't. Water rudder should go down. And after flaps, what the hell? What the hell? Alright. We go, just let her fly away. All right. Get those flaps up, set our airspeed, and now let's see if I can make my autopilot machine work. So let's try 2,000 feet. Set our altitude, set our altitude speed. Let's try something a little more sensible for this airplane. Negative 500, set air. And let's actually switch this over so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I've got this little autopilot thing, and let's switch over to game mode so you guys can see everything. That's a little more sensible. And from there, so this is a cool little town. There's like float planes, and this place gets busy in the summer. All right, so let's enable our altitude mode. Let's see how good it is at keeping this mode for us. Seems to be pretty decent. So let's set our airspeed to 100 knots. Set airspeed, enable airspeed. There we go. Look at that, auto throttle. So it looks like the tuning settings that I've already written for the other one they're working out fairly well for this one, which is good. So let's figure out the GPS coordinates for Thunder Bay. And open a new window. Thunder Bay Airport. There's the wiki. Grab some coordinates. Not that. Decimal. There's what we're looking for. 48. Go copy. Oh no. Copy that. Set destination. And then we go. So we have destination mode enabled and enable heading. It's over cranking it a bit. That's okay. So that seems to be working fairly well. So let's try and get to 4,000 feet. Set our altitude. There we go. It's trying to keep the airspeed up, but not doing such a great job of it. So this is actually working really well. I was thinking I was going to have to tune this thing a whole bunch. So we can see I have a controller here that actually connects into... It actually connects right into the SimConnect and displays it out here. So I can actually make a whole bunch of settings changes and actually more or less fly the airplane without ever touching it. There's also this CDI. Now I have this bound. So if I wanted to set heading using the CDI, doesn't seem to like that. Not in this plane. Maybe this plane just doesn't expose that. Oh, that's CDI, sorry. Heading selector. There we go. So now that's going to turn. And so I'm going to need more derivative on that heading. So let's try sort of 2.5. Let's try 3.5. Go set destination and let it turn. Now this should... No. That didn't seem to do it. I bet it's going to be my bank sequencer. Let's just try doubling it. Use heading selector. This is actually going to make it worse. Yeah. So the roll rate's fine. It's the heading. Okay, where's my controller? internal. Heading mode, selector mode. Heading control. Yeah, it's all in the heading controller. I really should be using an anti-wind-up in this, but yeah. Maybe my integral control is... No, that's pretty low. And if we go selector... So what I want it to do is stop banking as much as it comes out. But it's not banking out quickly enough. A little bit better. Had to clear out your community folder. Why? What happened? Too much crap in there? I end up with so much garbage in my community folder too. It's so bad. Switch back to selector mode. Somebody was messing up autopilots in different planes. Ah, yeah. Little bit better. And heading, set destination. Cleared it whenever it went away, and now have narrowed down. Yeah, yeah, it's such a nightmare. Now mine, this autopilot, is completely external, so it does not connect at all. Yeah, probably working Title 1. Things like that G1000 or G3000 mod, they stink. They stink. They're so broken. I don't know what they've done to them, but they never work well for me. But this seems to be working just fine. Set our airspeed a little bit slower speed. Let's go... Let's just go right down to 90. There we go. Look at that. So let's see. So this doesn't have a CDI for this, but that's okay. That's all I really need. Basically, I just need it to set an altitude, hold an altitude, so that it's not burning too much fuel porpoising down the way. And then more importantly, I also need it to steer in the right direction, so I'm not having to steer it back and forth, and just have it stay nice and even, and doesn't have to meander a lot, just a little teeny tiny bit, and off it goes. So it looks like this autopilot is basically fully functional at this point. Now it's just a matter of figuring out which planes might be best. So, but that's a couple months away. We got some updates coming that will probably break things. So. So with that in mind, let's disable all of these. And go land in some of these lakes. This is like, I hated how it's like so zoomed in. It's like it's like they assume I'm a console player or something. Yeah, I'm playing the Xbox, so it's gotta be real slow, real zoomed in. Then we got to try it with faster planes. So it works on the passenger jet. Although if those settings change, I don't know how well it's going to work on the passenger jet. I'm going to have to figure out a system to detect what kind of plane it is and load in different tuning parameters. Which isn't too hard. Come on, don't go to sleep. There we go. Let's climb out a bit. Then do a float pilot landing. You need to get on the ball and create a Lake Buccaneer for the sim. I know, right? So I've got the 3D scans for it already. It's just, I just don't have the time. I got 100 other things going on. Like even today, I was supposed to be out shooting a video, and I didn't even wake up. I couldn't sleep, so. Let's give ourselves a little bit better view. Alright, get over the ridge. Way slow down. And then, yeah, we're way high. Oof. Nightmares. That nose back a little bit. Get her on the white line, and boom, she's down. Flaps back up. Full throttle. Ooh. The water physics never change, Microsoft. Never change. So if I just go like this, if I hit Alt, heading, and airspeed. Look at that. It's locking them all in. Any trees underwater in an amphib? Yes. Happens all the time. All the time. It's, you do a flyover, but if the water's really murky or, you know, the logs are moving around or something, you can see them. Usually you can see them from the air if you do a precautionary, like a low and over, and go high. Like you gotta fly about 500 feet above and take a look in, see if you can really see it. Do a low and over. If you're too low, you can't really see anything. So instead, you have to be kind of a little bit higher than you might expect. And yeah, but yeah, people definitely do hit them, and it will damage the plane pretty badly. There's certain, so they say like logging lakes are really bad for it, because what they'll do is sometimes they'll chop off the logs. So there'll be trees that have been floated, like trees that have been flooded over. So the water level comes up and it floods over the top of the trees. And then what they do sometimes is they take these dead trees that are now, you know, partially underwater, and they chop them off like just below the water line, and then take them off, and then take off just a part of it and float that downstream. But now, like 6 inches underwater, there's that log, and you can't see that. Cinder Cove with a rental boat once. Oof. Yeah, and the prop at least. Yeah, we had a very similar situation when I was a kid. We were boating around out in the mountains, and my dad was water skiing, and my mother was driving the boat. My mother's not the best of drivers, and she just kept getting closer and closer and closer. So it was a complete rock face on the left-hand side, complete rock face, and then massive open water on the right. And she's like, "Oh well, it's so choppy if we go too far out. So let's get closer." And by the time we were getting so close to this rock face, like we were maybe 15 feet off the edge of the rock face, and like going full bore. I'm like, "What are you doing? This is dangerous. Like if we hit a wake or something and shuffle sideways, we're gonna be into this rock face." Well, we didn't happen to hit a rock face in that way, but we did hit the rock face underwater. So she floors it. The boat goes brr, 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 brr. And my dad's like, "What the hell?" So he swims up to the boat, and we lift up the leg, and sure enough, the propeller was just completely chewed to shit. And this is right at the beginning of our vacation. Like, I think that was day 2 of like a 2 or 4 week vacation, and we were supposed to be, you know, going around boating a bunch of stuff. Exactly, a ledge underneath the water. Yep, that's exactly what we hit. And yeah, so we were really screwed. We didn't have a propeller, so we stopped camping at that site and continued on to Vancouver, and ended up finding a place that was selling propellers. We found these like modular propellers, where they were, you know, the propeller blades, you could actually take them off and change the pitch of them. Not the blades themselves, you could put on different pitch sets. But if you broke a blade, it would you could just replace the one instead of all 3 of them. Now, was that actually cost effective? Probably not, but it was a thing. So. Man, let's go land over here now. Pissed it was like the main cabin cruiser turned around in the same spot. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you just can't see them. Sometimes they're moving around. It happens. It happens all the time. It's one of the most dangerous things. That's why it's not really good to be landing in rivers, because rivers, things will move really quickly, and sometimes things will get lodged underwater, and then suddenly they'll pop up and then pop down and pop up and down and all this stuff, and they're kind of weeble wobbling down there, and often it's very, very silty, so you can't see more than a couple inches underwater, which a log could be, you know, 6-8 inches underwater and be ready to rip your hull out, but you can't see it, like, at all. So not the best to land in in lakes or in rivers, I guess, or any kind of silty area. Let's land over here. Land up over into there. This can be a bit of a challenging landing. Could be rough as shit. Yeah, exactly. I'd love to land in things like the Amazon and stuff, but those are you're taking a chance with all of those, especially because you could be a long way from civilization. All right, let's slow her down. Okay, we're gonna try and land right in the middle there. Where that outcropping comes out. Yeah, this thing is cruising. Way too much airspeed. Here we go. One of the nice things about flying boat airplanes is that you can get like 20 feet off the water and crank it in on and do like a 45-degree turn, steep turn, like just like this, really low to the water, and usually you're not really worrying about, you know, stalling the plane. Like my plane will climb at 45 degrees 10 feet off the water all day long, so at 65 knots. So cool. Mine's got an IO360, so it's the A1B engine, which means it's fuel injected, so the I. And so the A1A engine isn't fuel injected, so it's only producing like 180 horsepower instead of 200. But I don't have the A1B6, which means I have a RPM restriction, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Let's see. Yeah, I had TikTok, Instagram Reel go like super viral. Well, not super viral, but viral enough. Viral enough for my tastes. Yeah, non-fuel injected was like that Cherokee back in the day. Yeah. A lot, yeah. So there's a lot of them that are, you know, IO3. A lot of the O360 and IO360 are very popular engines. because they're around 200 horsepower. They're reasonable weight, you know, for an aircraft engine, and yeah, they've been around forever. So, you know, people's attitude, oh, if it's been around forever, that means it's reliable. If it hasn't been around forever, it's unreliable. Not exactly true. So let's do this. See if we can turn on some iPad. Let's see exactly where we are going. Nope, that's not the right place. It's because I don't have the thing. Start flight tracking. There we go. That's a little better. Clear. Nora. Add to route. And then we go down to Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay. Ooh, there's a float base. That's where we'll land. The float base. It is going to take a little while to get there. So, according to that, it says hour and 59. But if we switch this to 100, it's going to give us the beans a bit. It's like this is float plane territory right here. Aviation or cool. Hey, thanks, brace yourself. Good morning. Yeah, you it's morning. Airplane crashing into the screen. Love it. So we're playing around with my fancy little autopilot, as you can see on the screen here. Get rid of that. I'm able to change over to heading selector mode. And as you can see, like, I'm completely hands off. It's flying itself. So this plane that has absolutely no autopilot in it, I can just change the heading on there and it just figures itself out, just like a real airplane does. I can also set destination and it's going to fly directly to it, as I am a cheater. Still use the Sims autopilot? No, it doesn't. So that's why I actually wrote it, because in the game there is a lot of autopilot, a lot of planes that just don't have autopilots. For example, the Icon A5 and a handful of other ones. They don't have an autopilot. They don't have an auto throttle. They don't have, you know, insert any number of things that other planes do. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna write an external one. It means I don't have to mod the game. Don't have to mod the airplanes. Like, I can mod in an autopilot into the Icon A5 if I wanted to, but I don't have to, because I can just write an external one that just works on virtually every airplane. And then I'm done. Then I can actually have it do other stuff. So one of the things I was hoping to get it to do was, you know, when we're flying with CD or with Fliggity. Yep, exactly. The plane, it's manipulating the plane's controls. You can actually see the trim down there. So if I take the controls over here on the Xbox and or not the Xbox, it is an Xbox controller. But if I push the stick down there, it's going to counteract. If you watch that trim on the bottom right, it's actually counteracting with the trim. Because it's like, no, you told me to do something else. I'm going to do something else. Something else is off. So it's all feedback controlled, which is really nice. So one of the things I wanted to get it to do, and I don't know if I can get it to do it, is so when we're flying along with CD or Fliggity or whoever, they're always flying along. They're changing their speed a whole bunch, and we're trying to keep up and trying to, you know, focus in on them. Well, I want this thing to, and it, like, so if you watch, if I change the airspeed here and go to 90, the it's wound up. Shit. So there's a few little bugs in it. I got to figure out some of them. But if you wait for a second, it's going to anti-wind up right now. It's going to de-wind itself. It will after a minute or so. I don't have an anti-wind up PID controller on it. Which I need to do, and I need to figure out how that thing works. But the long and the short of it is that this thing, it has an auto throttle as well. So my thought was, if I can have it detect a plane, and I can, you know, type in somebody's name or click on their plane, or, you know, the sim object ID or something, whatever it is, and then just have it say follow this person, I could have it basically take the plane and go and automatically intercept them, like extra throttle, and then automatically, you know, dethrottle itself. See, yeah, there goes the throttle. So it took like 30 seconds for it to de-wind itself. But it should be able to go up, automatically intercept, and get right into formation and just sit with them. And then if that person changes direction or whatever, turns, ascends, descends, it should just fully manage it and do that. Exactly. The laziest fly-alongs ever. That's me. But the problem is, SimConnect does not give out that information. I can see the planes there. They come back as objects, but there's no data about them. There's not, you know, their ATC ID. There's no altitude, airspeed, nothing. Absolutely nothing about them. So, yeah, it's not working very well. But, you know, that would be like literally a button. I just say follow. It'll just do it. But I can go and disable these. Yeah, auto throttle is the most wonderful thing in the world. In simming anyways. Because the problem with not having an auto throttle is that you're constantly tweaking your throttle, because it'll wind up a bit and then de-wind, and you can't really stay up with somebody. Whereas if somebody else is setting their speed, you can just set that auto throttle and just let it adjust. Just let it, you know, faster, slower as it needs to. Someone like Flag, you could scrap it to Flight Sim Track. Probably, but I don't know how accurate that data is going to be or how quick it's going to be. So it might be an exercise in just chasing it. So, like for example, what's that? What's the one we use? We use SimConnect. No, what's it called? SimAir. So the one we use for the races is SimAir. It only updates every like 30 seconds, so it's not good enough. Auto throttle is nice. Don't mess with it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I got an X52. Yeah, X52. And, yeah, it works. But having an auto throttle that's an actual auto throttle is really nice. Especially like when you're trying to land. Because what I can do is I can set airspeed, right? And I can go... Come on, zoom in. There you go. So if I go, you know what? I want my final landing speed to be 55. I can just go 55, set airspeed. I've enabled my auto throttle. It's going to automatically slow me down. So my throttle's at 0 now. Let's get a little bit slower airspeed. Seems to update more often, but maybe they're just smooth the data. Yeah, that's the other problem too, is they could be. And it's only if he is pushing that data to that program as well. Which of course for our flying, you know, I can have it provide an inverse smoothing algorithm to it so that it detects, okay, this is what the data where he was 10 seconds ago. I can assume he's 10 seconds ahead of that, and I can put myself in formation with 10 seconds ahead of that. Now the problem is if he makes a quick maneuver, it's going to be all over the place. Be like, oh, okay, what are we doing? So you can see it's now manipulating the throttle for me to keep me at 55. So I can point the nose at the ground, and it's going to bring the throttle back. And I can bring the throttle or the nose way back. And because it's in super windup, it's going to have a problem right now, and I'm just going to stall. Yeah, it's not good. Come on, throttle. Do your thing. Yeah, definitely for the throttle, I definitely need anti-windup. Alright, so, whoops, disable airspeed for max throttle. Be good to get it from the sim. Yeah, exactly. That's what my hope was. I can see the ATC airplanes. I can follow those. That's no problem. But I can see that there is. It's like it's returning the data. It's just there's no data there. It's like, yeah, here's an object, but there's nothing in it. Yeet. Like, thanks. That was super handy. So now, if I enable Alt, heading, and set my airspeed to, say, 95, set airspeed, and then enable airspeed. Yeah, exactly. No one's implemented TCAS for multiplayer yet. It's so annoying because it's like the data is there. Just give me the data. Just give me the freaking data. Alright, so let's go into my auto throttle. And I have the anti-wind-up controller. So what is the tracking controller? With low pass filter of derivative term, feed forward, anti-wind up, and bumpless transfer. Ooh. I gotta read this thing about PID controllers. Ooh, I know. Yeah. So. Yeah, there's so many extra things you gotta mess with to get this thing to work. I wonder if there's any... Oh my god. Yeah, this is gonna be a bunch of reading to get through to actually figure out how to use the anti-wind-up controller. What I can do is I can decrease the integral gain to like 0.25. See if that'll help. I think my derivative gain is too high. No, I definitely do need an integral gain a little bit higher. Target IAS, proportional gain. You know, I might just be able to boost proportional gain. And leave the integral gain way back down to like 0.25 or something. Seems to be working a little bit. Come on, give him more throttle. Come on, there you go. So I set this back to 100. Partially because we're trying to climb too, but should be okay. PID control should be able to handle that. Got people messaging me like crazy from my TikTok and Instagram post. 163,000 views. 33,000 likes. It's crazy. Like 5,600, like over 5,600 people shared it with other people. Something like 20% of people who watched it shared it or liked it. It's a pretty good number. Grand flying over to film. I guess so. I guess that's going to have to be my next thing. Is this the true airspeed and then it's setting the indicated? Might be what's going on there. Yeah, next week, well, I guess this weekend I'm going to be shooting a video talking about ADS-B and tracking, which it's a bit of a problem. It's a bit of a problem having people able to track out an airplane what it's doing, even though they don't, know the person. Good to know. I just chatting streamer didn't get to know the kind of results with video have done well. Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, it like I spent a whole bunch of time working on the last video I did, which was an exploration of the air tour that we did. And then, I probably spent 20, 30 hours editing that thing. And got like 400 views on it. And then I put in exactly, 20 minutes worth of effort into getting that other one. And that's just went gangbusters. There was another guy. So I only found out about that sign on the ground because, so I was flying up. I just called like, yeah, I'm, just north of Lac St. Anne and just north of Lac St. Anne at whatever feet, heading out for Mayerthorpe. And the guy calls back, he's like, this is, says no 180, currently 5,000 feet, just over northwest of, northeast of Lac St. Anne at, just checking out the sign. I was like, sign. I have a funny feeling I know what this is because I saw a Facebook post a few weeks ago of someone that said "fuck Trudeau" on their field. I'm like, oh, I know exactly what this is going to be. I haven't seen it. I haven't heard anything about it, but I want to go see this. I want to go check it out. So I call him like, hey, so where is this? And he goes, yeah, it's about 5 miles northeast of Lac St. Anne. I'm like, okay, cool, thanks, man. So I go and check it out. I'm like, that's pretty cool. I do my flying. I go and land elsewhere and come back and start downloading the video off there. Apparently, when he was flying over it, he was taking video as well, and he posted to TikTok, and he got 1.3 million views. And his is just like, it's a 2-second clip of him just pointing it out the window, just watching the wording go past. I'm like, oh, well, okay. So I'm still pretty happy with how mine did, but yeah, his went super viral. But you hear a lot of stuff all across the country of people. If you read the comments on either one of them, there's a lot of people, not just in Alberta, that are not very happy with that guy. Which makes sense. So if I disable Alt and heading, what I can do is I can point the nose at the ground. The throttle's going to go back until I hit 95. And it's effectively like a planned descent. My next video is going to be about ADS-B and tracking. So my big thrust on that one is, it's illegal to take a GPS tracker and just stick it on a stranger's car, and rightfully so. Like, you should not be allowed to, hey, I like this person's car, I'm going to stick a tracker on it and follow him around. It's stupid. That's what the hell. Or I had one friend, her ex-husband, husband at the time, put a GPS tracker on her car. He's like, yeah, you're out there cheating on me, so I'm gonna figure out everywhere you go. And he puts a tracker in her car, and exactly, could lead to some issues. Exactly. So he put a tracker in her car, and she's rightfully so pissed off at him about that. Takes it and throws it in a lake or something, and it's very illegal to do that. Now, I think in that case, because I think he technically owned the car, or was a co-owner of it, he was allowed to because it's tracking his own property. But if she owned the car separately from him, then that would absolutely be illegal. Rightfully so, of course. So that's illegal to do that. But when it's airplanes, you are mandated in a lot of places to have a GPS tracker installed in your plane that's sending off data, and that now everybody can listen and read this data, and you're legally required to have this. And there's nothing you can do for privacy. It's like, no, you're an airplane. You don't have privacy. Cars do. But airplanes, no. They can see exactly where you parked that airplane. They can see exactly, and they don't even have to install anything. You have to pay to install to let other people watch and track your airplane. It's actually a murder case that involved a tracker. I remember seeing it on the homicide shows. Yeah. Not surprising. Alright, so we actually have better airspeed control now, which is good. Alright, so disable airspeed. Fine. Throttle coming back. Full slip over here. This plane's... it's like the rudder is way less effective than it should be. So we should be like way over here at that point, but oh, that's not good. Still a bit high, and come on, down. There you go. Full throttle. Flaps and takeoff. And off the water we go. Mount. Set for heading. Right into the mountain. We might be skimming some trees, but that's alright. Airspeed. Enable airspeed. Yeah, I definitely need more derivative. Let's go... well, let's try like 1.0. That looks a little bit better. Flaps coming up. Yeah, so, any case, back to ADS-B and flight tracking. So, since I've installed ADS-B in my plane, everyone can see exactly where I am all the time. And I've even had people message me like, hey, yeah, I just saw you took off. I'm like, what the hell? And, you know, you can open up things like Flight Radar 24 and it'll actually show you, so let's go game cap. So it'll actually show you ask it to tell you when somebody takes off or lands or anything like that. So you can say, just follow this airplane, and you get notification. And that's creepy. It's not such an issue if you know the person. You're like, okay, that's fine. But if you don't know the person, that's creepy. So the thing is, ADS-B, it transmits your location. It's constantly transmitting your GPS coordinate, your altitude, your airspeed, all this stuff, all this whole bunch of data. But it's also transmitting 3 identifiers. And one is your squawk code, which is, fairly standard. It's been transmitting squawk codes for many years. But the problem is you'd have to be listening on a radio to de-anonymize that squawk code, and most people, when they're flying around outside of the air traffic control zone, they switch over to VFR, so they switch to 1200, and then everybody's transmitting the same squawk code. So there's some kind of privacy capabilities there. The other 2 are much harder. One is the ICAO code, and one is your flight number. Now, in the States, you can file for a flight number every single flight. So you can, when you're filing a flight plan, you can say, this is my flight number, and you can be like, pretty much whatever you want, I believe. So, Air Force Proud, he flew once, and I just laughed my ass off because he put in his code as Harambe 1, which I thought was pretty funny. And it was back just right after the Harambe thing. So he's flying around as Harambe 1, getting some privacy there. But in Canada we can't. We have to use our tail number as that code. So you get nothing from that. But even worse than that is the ICAO code. And the ICAO code is something you have to apply for. And in the States, you're allowed to get a new one every, I think it's 90 days. And you have to apply for one constantly. So the moment someone de-anonymizes your ICAO code, and in Canada, they give you the ICAO code of every plane. So even if someone were to change their flight number but not change their ICAO code, they're just going to change it. They can do whatever they want. So they can just track you anyways. So they de-anonymize the ICAO code, and you're hosed. In the States, you're allowed to change it every 90 days, which is still a problem because it means as long as someone de-anonymizes it once, that's it. You're gone for 90 days until you change it again. So my thought is, being a cryptographer, being someone who knows security and cryptography, the way to handle this is the same way cell phones handle this. And by that, I mean they handle it by doing so an iPhone, to connect to Wi-Fi, you need a MAC address. This is standard for all Wi-Fi devices. They need a MAC address. Apple, several years ago, they started doing this thing where when they're sending out beacon scans for access points, and they're doing this now actually for even connections, they pick a random MAC address all the time. Like it's completely random, and they change it between every 10 and 20 minutes. It's just completely changed. They just completely pick a random one and off they go. And with that, it means that even if you're tracking somebody, the moment you lose signal with them, if they change their signal and come back, you don't know that was them again. You don't know that's where they are. So we need a very similar system like that in transponders. It doesn't necessarily mean they need to have the squawk code, because I think the squawk code's kind of outdated and they should just probably drop it. It's just not necessary anymore. It is necessary when you're doing Mode S and stuff, but not, ADS-B. You just really don't need it. Instead, what they should be doing is creating another data packet that is an encrypted data packet. And that encrypted data packet sends off the de-anonymized information to the satellites or the ground stations that includes the real ICAO code and the real flight number, encrypts it, and then sends that off using a public-private key pair from the air traffic control units. So say you're flying around in Canada, they'll have their own private key. You transmit off, and it's going to be received on theirs, and they're able to decrypt it, but only them and nobody else is able to decrypt it. The regular ICAO number that's in there, it's paired up in that encrypted data. So it says, this is the one that I'm sending out right now. Here's my current ICAO code that I'm telling everyone, but here's my actual ICAO code, my actual flight number. And it just broadcast that so that the only people able to read that is Transport Canada, and they should be legally required not to send off that information. But I think they should have a mode on there where it doesn't send that information unless you have it. So there's an ident button on all transponders, and by default I think that they should have it where if you're just flying, you just take off regularly and don't press ident, it should just be in anonymous mode by default. And then when you're needing to be tracked by an air traffic control unit, you press the ident button, then you see the little thing come up. It'll do the regular ident thing, setting the flag so that air traffic controls can see you, but it also starts transmitting continually transmitting that de-anonymizing code for that air traffic control unit, but nobody else. And then you can turn it off just by like holding the ident button or something. So you get the privacy without the without losing all the rest of ADSB. Yeah, that proportional gain is way too high. See how that looks. Still not looking right. I want to see it pushing that throttle all the way forward. Maybe I just need more integral gain. Let's try 1.0. I think the derivative gain is too high now. See if that works. Pretty sure that PID package anti-wind up. Yeah, max output, min output. Feels like that derivative gain is way off. It is more responsive, it's just not responsive enough. The moment I had that set for like 15 or for 20, it was just all over the place. Really interesting. Real interesting. This is the extra nerdy stream. Inset settings, screen. Switch that back over there. I want to see if I can land right here. Nothing wrong with the nerdy stream. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Everyone else is doing airliners. That's super nerdy. I'm just gonna take a GA plane and add an autopilot to it. Oh, what was that? Oh, it's because I've got Discord running. Stupid Discord. Go away. Close window. Quit Discord. Where's Discord? Oh, this is going to be a perfect approach right down here. It's still 200 feet. This thing glides way too well. Hey, look who it is. Wondering when I would see you? Does the VL3 have an autopilot in it? I don't think it does it? Here to test something. Well, maybe that'll be the next plane I'll add an autopilot for. Generally, it's kind of just tweaking settings on the same autopilot, though. This plane annoys me how well it glides. Especially with full barn doors open. Hey, Goose. Tonight we're messing around with autopilots. Rather, creating autopilots. I have no idea what's up this valley, but we're going to take advantage of it. Either that, or we're going to die trying. That's another part of the lake. Alright. Alt. Heading. Airspeed. Done. It is fairly complicated, which is why it's taken so much of a pain in the ass to actually, figure out how to make it work. Right now the throttle is doing like weird things. It seems to be okay right now, but I think that smells like the derivative control is too far off. Like it's too high. I'm just going to turn off the integral gain entirely. Oops, not 0.5. Let's try disabling the derivative gain too. I think the throttle is almost all exclusively integral gain. Because oftentimes when you're using so I guess when you're using a PID controller, when you're using a PID controller, you say add this force to get me closer to where my actual point is from where I am right now. And then when it gets there, it wants it to be 0. So the proportional gain is actually always, it's always going to like just drop it way down to nothing. It's not going to shift it. So if I want to go faster, it's going to be like, well, okay, we're 5 off, so I need to be, 5%. So I need to be 5 throttle. And then when I get closer to it, reduce the throttle to 0, except then it's just wavering. So it's got to all be integral because it's always offset. That makes more sense. So let's try to disable or set the proportional gain to like 1. I bet what's going to happen is it's going to set basically the throttle to basically like 1 or 2% here. Yeah. And the further away it's getting, you can see we're now like 20 we're 15, we're 15 off, or 10, 15, 20, 25 off, whatever. So now the throttle's way back, which makes a lot of sense. That's proportional gain, 0.0 integral gain. So let's do 15.0. I might need like a second layer of gain. I think really I need that anti-wind up though. extra nerdy stuff. I wonder if I set the proportional gain to 1, integral gain to like 1. I don't really have to worry about the derivative gain so much. Alright. Now let's see if that retards the throttle. Should really be logging this. Log print line. Yeah, we're gonna need to format this. Not good. Percentage point 2F. Percentage point 2F. God, I hate this keyboard. Control error, 4, 5 off. It's clamping it at 123, which is why it's still all the way over. So this isn't able, the integral isn't, or the proportional isn't able to compensate for the gross error in the integral. So this is the integral gain. Alright, well, I'm try and see if I can find somebody who's actually used this anti-wind-up controller before. I think realistically, I just need to properly read this thing. Probably still get away with just using this one, just using it correctly. Oh, come on, Windows. There you go. Probably really depends on how fast the aircraft is able to actually compensate. I don't think I need derivative, because the whole plane's inertia is the derivative. That makes sense in my brains. Whether or not it makes sense in yours, who knows? Let's create a new file here called log.go package autopilot log state. PID controller state. Alright, well, it's debugged. Debugged well enough. As they like to say, good enough for the girls I go out with. It's a big ass lake. There comes the CRJ. Use flaps to drop some speed. As long as I'm within the arc, I'm good to go. Wait, is that feet by thousands? Yeah, it is thousands of feet. Okay, well, that explains why I'm so off. Said multiplayer traffic shows the CRJ TCAS. Said test because CRJ can pick up MP traffic. We can. Yes, but alas, you weren't on my TCAS. That sucks. That sucks. I bet it shows up. I bet if you find an ATC airplane flying up like at altitude, I bet it'll show up in there. I'm going to pester CD about that. Hey, CD. CD, where are you? Get your ass in here. I'm going to harass you. Get you to file a bug report. Get them to just, like, show the data. I really wonder what the point of it returning data is. Like, it returns an object, but the object is, like, dead empty. Live traffic, generics, injected traffic VAT sim, but no MP traffic yet. Lots of people complaining about it online. Yeah. So unfortunate. Because, like, I just want to make it so I have one person flying around and I can, like, set the Xbox, like, to be my lead. And then the PC versions, they all just sit there on the side doing their thing with fully automatic autopilot. You know, I can basically be the Thunderflies of one. Don't work harder, just work smarter. Alt, airspeed heading. Alright, so let's, while we're at it, go down here and I'll show you exactly what I'm getting. So there's my tester. Here's my test report. So here's my title, ATC ID, etc., etc. You know, I'm going to take this. And in my test report, turn it into stringer. Plunk, test report, string. Paste that in there. And sprintf. Don't want a new line on that. I'm just going to call this report to make my life easier. And then we go format dot print line report. So there's me, and then presumably that's you, wherever you are, within 200 nautical miles. Yeah, there you are. So as you can see, so here's my latitude and longitude, and my lat long, and I think this is the airspeed. I get nothing from you, like dick all. After before the fix the damn disappearing multiplayer issue, you're still popping in and out. Yeah, I know, right? What the hell are they doing? It was so... I never had really any pop in, pop out issues until they released that update. I want to say like 3 or 4 months ago. Like it was almost perfect for me. Like I never lost anybody. Like there was the occasional one here and there, but it was rare. Now it's all the time. It was the one, I think, for the Xbox. I think it's when the Xbox came out. Nice. And you're still empty. Empty string. So, I do have the SDK. Additional information. Programming tools, that's what I'm looking for. Sim variables. Aircraft sim bars. So I should be able to get, like, I shouldn't need to dig into all this other stuff, because I just don't need this. Don't they know all I want is to buzz your A5 with a CRV8? No kidding, right? This looks like this documentation's been updated. Animation delta time, category. Realism percent. Oh man. So one of the things that's kind of been bugging me is that we use simair.io for the races, but the problem is Simair, like, as far as I can tell, he hasn't done anything with Simair in like a year and a half. So it kind of gets crippled every time we do every time we do a race. And it's like, you know, and I'm like, hey, can you like add anti-cheat to it? And he's like, no. Like, all you need to do is like hash the files and upload them somewhere periodically. And nah, he just doesn't want to work on it anymore. It's like, okay, I can help in some way. No. All right, sure. Let's try category and controllable, see if I can get this data out of here. Cat 256 light. Six byte. Cat and cot. Percentage S. Yes. Report dot title. Report dot cat. Report dot controllable. How'd you disappear? See if it at least understands what it is. Controllable. I don't know what that's gonna be. Oh yeah, yeah. It's what I was. You know, I could just actually go fly around in, which is what I might just do. I'm gonna go to New York. Just gonna leave this. And go world map. Give me somewhere where I know there's going to be people. There's always people in New York because there is. Oh, look at that. LaGuardia has a float base. We're going to use that. So this is departure. What a dog. Well, that's what happens when I leave the autopilot turned on. There you go. Okay. Alright, so we're going to set this to selector. Set this over here and see. The question is, which of these are AI and which one of these are real people? There should be a ton. But the problem is, when you're over an airport, a lot of these are AI controlled. Well, it's detecting it's an airplane, but I've also filtered for only showing me airplanes. Catering truck. These are just values I just don't care about. Audio simulation. Okay. Oh yeah, the audio management stuff, it's a nightmare. These are loaded aircraft. Is user sim? That might be useful. Pretty sure I could put a bool in here. Actually, I might not be able to. Data type, not implemented bool. Yeah, fine. So it's got to be, I think an int will work. Which means I also have to do D. No, int is not implemented. N32? So there's me, the icon A5. Can you turn off airport traffic? Off, show traffic nameplates. Airport vehicle density, airport aircraft, ground aircraft. That might do it. Let's leave this back up on 50. Ah, smart one. Smart one. Ah, you've used it for videos. Okay, I like that. I like that. That's smart. So one of the things I want to do with this software is also allow me to inject in planes. And I can't necessarily talk about what I'm doing that for, but the idea would be to be able to effectively put in an airplane into the game that doesn't exist in there anyways. Title, tow connection. Curvy canopy open. You know, I wonder if it's something stupid, like... That'd piss me off if this was it. see what this does first. Okay, that's at least detecting some of that. Not in the places I want it to. Yeah, still nothing. What's the, there we go. Exactly, exactly. They all do that. I know for sure that that's possible. How quickly you can do it in frames per second, like updates per second, that's another question, but it's definitely doable in enough precision, I think, that I'll be okay. Depreciated, do not use. Okay. This is so weird. I just, like, give me something. Just give me something. What do I do? Heading, latitude and longitude. So let's do 0. It just doesn't seem to do anything. Yeah, exactly. They do seem pretty decent, so I'm inclined to believe that they're going to work just fine. What is my distance? So right now it's set for 200 kilometers, but these guys are definitely within 200 kilometers, or outside of 200 kilometers, or within 200 kilometers, and it's not showing them up. Droppable objects. So these ones have indexes on them. Exits depreciated. I think they just don't want people to see what other, where the autopilot locations is, or the real world locations are of people in multiplayer. Yeah, I'm assuming other people have spent a ton more time on this than I probably have, so... I'm going to keep seeing is you can get the planes around from the SimConnect API, just not the JS API. Well, I'm using the SimConnect API directly, so I don't think that's true. Get air traffic. Get air traffic. What is that? So what is coherent? Coherent API. Okay. If I knew what that was, fly-by-wire. Advanced cockpit emulator. Call trigger, coherent API mocking, SimVar support. So I just want to figure out exactly what they're doing to get that. So get air traffic. Get air traffic. You know, I gotta remember, like, how do I change my friggin' search? Search. Personalize your web experience. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you know, I'm fine using Bing. I'm fine using Edge. I just cannot use goddamn Bing. Friggin' Bing. Why am I not seeing it? There we go. Oh my god. Search engine. Google. Thank you. Cool. Awesome. Get air. Oops. Get air traffic. Sim. Bing. There you go. Connects to Sim Connect, the web API, query traffic in the sim. Inbuilt live traffic. This app also provides traffic from injected multiplayer, BatSim, vPilot. Shit. Not supported at the moment. Data need for is not exposed via Sim Connect. Well, balls. This is several months ago. Expected information. Huh. Traffic display works fine on the developer mode. It seems like it's still just... Pretty sure it's just injected traffic. So if I try to do... So if I tried opening up a little nav map the other day to see if I can get it to do it. Because I know it... where's the little nav map? I don't know if this is the current version or what, but it's what I got. And it didn't seem to have any people. It only had, like, yeah, the live traffic, right? So I'm like right next to a bunch of people here. And there's nothing. Yeah. Yeah, same issue. That's exactly what I thought. So unfortunate. All I want to do is be lazy in my... be really super lazy in my formation flying. But at least it's working as far as it is right now, so that's good. Yeah, no kidding. Putting in more effort than anyone just to be lazy. Well, the best part is, right? If I want to fly formation with everybody all the time, I put in a bunch of effort right now, and then zero effort into the future. Zero. Not even an ounce. We'll see if I can get it to enable altitude mode. Yeah, you do that. You do you. Trims all the way back. It's like, no, please don't do this to me. Ooh, that spins nicely, though. Ho ho! A spin button. Just spin it real fast. It's fine. The centrifuge option. Puree the passengers. Hey, what's wrong? Why are you being a grump? You're a dog. I know. Constant attention's all she needs. Well, that just picked up speed like crazy. Unfortunately, the only way to adjust trim is to also adjust the camera, because like weird things. Boeing 773. Definitely overspeeding these flaps. Let's get this to 60, set airspeed, enable airspeed. You know, I should add a VS mode into this. How close that wing is to the ground. Imagine just seeing a plane flying around the tarmac doing this. That's not a good sound. Come on, auto throttle, come to the rescue. Useless. I think it's just getting too far wound up. Didn't hit anything there. How's it going? Taxiing, I see? Guys, what the fuck? Microsoft Flight Sim. Weirdos. The AOA on target. The other thing I wish is they would add Sim Connect to the Xbox, like over a socket or something. Yeah, you can't take off because I'm following the runway. Except he's already blown past the hold short point. I like how you tried, but you failed. Dragon, poor dragon. Oh, this isn't gonna end well. Roy Halladay, yay! Minus the crack. It's just still sitting there. Come on, fly with everyone. I'm ruining his realism, his immersion. Let's get behind the curve, just let it wallow down. Beep, beep, Bubba Jeep. Why are your spoilers out, bud? Yeah, let's go play with the pasta jet now. Which is slowly becoming kind of one of my favorite planes. Slowly. By slowly, I mean quickly. Where are those guys? Was it down here? This is where they were. Well, there's an update for this jet too. I should download that. I know. That's actually what it sounds like in a glider, too. Not like that, but... Come on, Autopilot. Get your auto throttle figured out. Let's see. Let's go 150. Now it's slowing down. Yeah, all that wind noise. It's wonderful. Got us to altitude. Wonderful's one way to put it. Yeah, it is. When you get used to it, you know basically how fast you're going based on the wind speed. Okay, give me some throttle now. This is stalling. There you go. Yeah, I definitely figured out how to use that anti-wind up. Wifely kill zone? What the fuck? Well, it's definitely going faster than it should be. There's... Now what's it complaining about? That's the problem. This plane has a real spin problem. Oh, I thought that's a Captain Useless. Wait a second. I think someone might have landed in the river over here. Alright, Sully. It's so much harder from this rear view. Oh no. Don't switch views midway. Oh. I hit so hard the landing gear came out. Remember that movie Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow? And that's basically what they did, is fly through like a city. Were they flying through it, or were they just... I can't remember. Giant robots is all I remember. That movie was so weird, but kind of enjoyable. Snap roll. Is this where they filmed that Avengers scene, and it's like outside of that Grand Central Station or something? Oh, that didn't work out so well. Pay attention. There we go. That's so weird. There's all like tiny little buildings here, and then one row of tall ones. Something special about that road, probably. want to find that raised road that was here. There it is. Yeah, that'd be it. Crazy. Most of my understanding of these cities is through like Grand Theft Auto. Can't see anything because all these horrible trees. Closest thing I got to Hammerhead. It's amazing how big Central Park actually is. I'm surprised they don't just like start whittling away at it and turning it into buildings. Wonder if I have the CRJ. If I do, then maybe I'll self-teach myself that on Flig's stream while he's messing around getting the A320 going. Ooh! Well, that didn't work out so well. You have an airplane in your front yard. I do. It's been a while since I've flown this Carenado. The YMF. Well, that doesn't look right. That really doesn't look right. Plane's all messed up. So weird. Oh, whoops. I was just looking to do a wheel drag. No, it's because all the little cars are bumps in the road. There's a good test. Set altitude. Let's do 1,000 feet per minute. Enable altitude. Yeah, that is not at all right. Trim has just completely run away on it. Oh, I am tired today. She's tired too. Being a dog.
Hi, Bobby. Yeah. I know you need a walk. It's dog food. And attention.
It's the most important thing is attention. Oh, it is not happy about that. Alright, well, de-oscillated itself over time. It's twerking. Alright, let's see how it handles, where's the mixture knob? It's not gonna have a good time with this one. keeping that altitude. Stall. Stall. Ooh. Well, we did. Alright, so let's figure out. I think Fliggety's probably starting now. Yeah, he is. We'll just go over and do that. 76. There we go. And maybe we'll stream later next week or something, so not a whole lot.